Hello everybody and welcome back to the Ōkami walkthrough. We're now in the Gale Shrine and hopefully we'll be able to rescue this place from the evil grip of the Crimson Helm. Now, you may think this part looks long, but this dungeon's actually pretty damn short. So, if you recall correctly, the Suta Ruins took us 2 parts to complete, 2 actually quite lengthy parts, and then we had to go back in to do some more busy work. The Gale Shrine's actually only going to take us this 1.5 hour, dungeon and boss included, so it's really short. I think this is arguably the shortest dungeon of the lot. But either way, first things first, we really do need to take care of this damn demon gate, because we will get goodies for completing it, and you know how much I like goodies. Now what we have right here is, I believe, a chimera, or I hope I'm not wrong on that one. Yes, I'm correct, thank God. So, in the art book, it stated, I designed this demon after the imps, and I wrote the word chimera on his belly. I really like designs that have this kind of attitude, but some line-intensive designers may not agree with me. At this stage I was honestly planning on incorporating every demon's name into their design. Obviously that didn't actually end up happening in the end, but we still have the awesomeness of the chimera. Now, that in particular was a very, very minor part of the dungeon. The main body is through this gate, but I just wanted to get that done and dusted, because we are kind of going to need to go there later, because we've got some work to do there. Also, we actually do need to do it because it gives us the key to kill the lockjaw, so not a whole lot you can do if you don't kill that chimera. Now, obviously you should realise that chimeras are creatures that are composed of parts of several animals. The most common, I believe, is lion, griffin, snake. At least I'm pretty sure that is the common thing, but this particular chimera is apparently based on the Niue of Japanese folklore. Which is a legendary yokai or Mononoke. Anybody who's watched Princess Mononoke should realise what that means. So, the Niue has the face of a monkey, the legs of a tiger, the body of a Japanese raccoon dog, and the front half of a snake for a tail. So, yes, and due to its appearance, it's sometimes referred to as a Japanese chimera. There are also apparently other sources which say that it has the back of a tiger, the legs of a tanuki, the tail of a fox, and furthermore the head of a cat and torso of a chicken. But obviously they went for the monkey, tiger, raccoon dog, snake. And obviously, in terms of how you beat it, it's basically just a butt ogre. I love Ōkami to pieces, but the enemy designs are all really different and unique. But in the end, they do all fall prey to basically reusing enemy concepts. I mean, at some point in the near-ish, well, not quite near future, but at some point in the future, even the Spider Queen's gonna be reused as a concept. So, yeah. Anyway, I've already, unfortunately, spouted my one important thing that I had to say about the Gale Shrine, which is the whole thing to do with its Japanese name having Jingu in the title and the Imperial family connection. That said, there is some wonderful stuff in the art book about Gale Shrine as well, so we will most definitely be talking about that right now. So you have Gale Shrine interior shrine. So the Gale Shrine was one of the trial dungeons created early on in development. At the time there were ponds and caves in Kamiki Village, and the Gale Shrine was located at the end of these caves. When implementing the final version of the Gale Shrine, we used lots of resources that already existed, and the Gale Shrine's entrance became a sort of stalactite grotto, as you saw. Then there is a former image. The Gale Shrine was one of the first dungeons created for Ōkami, and as such I had a lot of trouble deciding on the direction I wanted to go with its design. Keeping the question, why does such a labyrinth exist in this world, in my mind, I introduced a lot of exotic cultural influences into the atmosphere, and threw some kanji onto the walls to keep the Japanese flavour intact. This didn't quite stick come the kind of final version, but it's a start for them. What's also kind of important to note is that in this particular bit of the art book, there's a thing about a dropped idea of the Shrine of Rejuvenation. Basically, before we had a large overall setting like Nippon, all of the things like a cave that acts as a dungeon and a pond for fishing were stuffed into Kamiki Village. LOL. Yes, they do include LOL in brackets. Even the place where you were going to attain the rejuvenation brush skill was located in the caves of Kamiki Village. At the time, we had not yet come up with the concept of reviving the bush gods by drawing in the missing stars of their constellations, and the process was much more boring. All you had to do to acquire a new brush skill was to find and trigger a puzzle or mechanism within the game. So, basically, a more typical Zelda fare. Now, we are currently at the exterior, and we are learning a new power, which is glorious. Basically, to do this, you have to draw things in the opposite direction to where they are pointing. Rather annoyingly, this one caused me a little bit of trouble. So, basically I'm being a bit of a fool here, because what it's asking you to do is draw a double loop. Or at least I think it is. Or at least it's a much tighter loop. I don't know why that one caused me such grief. It's really weird, but either way, the divine wind's back. And the windmill is good to go. And, oh, this site is beautiful. Now, a really awesome little thing is that, in the art book it says, in order to bring a Japanese flair to the decidedly Western windmills, I replaced the fabric of the fins with Japanese paper. Later, when I saw one of these windmills on Yatsu's head, I laughed and said, that's so Ōkami. And yeah, that's pretty accurate, I would say. But now, we've got another brush guard. And this is going to be glorious. You are really too slow, Kazagami. So, Kazagami is the god of wind. His name literally means wind god. But what's quite interesting is that either translating Kazagami's name in the same manner, or as in kamikaze, the same meaning Godwind or Wind God will be obtained. But apparently it is commonly translated as Divine Wind instead. And that's where you get the Divine Wind, which is mentioned, well, was mentioned by Issun just shortly before this, and just generally other stuff. Now, in history, kamikaze was a phenomenon seen by the peoples of Japan as divine winds sent to protect the providence of the nation from foreign invaders. Its namesake was cemented after the typhoons that struck down Mongol invaders in 1274 and 1281. I'm using the wrong type of gale right now. Gale storm. I'm mortified, but oh well. But the thing that most people would recognise the word kamikaze from is the World War II suicide pilots of the Empire of Japan Army who carried explosives with them on the aircraft, and they would resort to blow them up with the explosives by intentionally crashing down to Allied Navy vessels. So, slightly depressing, especially considering when I'm recording this commentary, and actually not that long after, when at the point where this comes up, we just had the VJ celebrations and kind of Day of Remembrance. So, yeah. It's a practice that really probably should never have happened, but it did, and we are past that in history now, thank God. Although not quite completely, but either way. If you just jump up there, you get a sun fragment. So, another very helpful thing to improve your health. And now that we have Galestorm, we can actually, you know, deal with these burning chests. Or at least, burning chests where we can't douse them with water. And this one in particular holds the Gale Shrine map. So, you kind of do want to pick this up. I believe there's... okay, there's not any other important ones over here, but... ah, well. Now, seeing as we are actually already in, like, the second half, almost, of Gale Shrine now, there's literally just a small section of platforming really to go. And then we're done, which is really weird. But the fan on Kazagami's back is an Uchiwa. Specifically, it's called the Gumbai Uchiwa, which was a type of fan for military leaders in Old Japan, but also an umpire's fan in sumo wrestling, which is a type of Japanese war fan. Apparently, the Gumbai Uchiwa is also a type of weapon under the Tessenjutsu category, because of the Gumbai's shape and adaptability of being crafted in sturdier materials, such as alloys and even clay, unlike your typical folding fans. And just to make sure that I make everything clearer, I guess I need to tell you what Tessenjutsu is, because to be perfectly honest, I don't know either! Okay, so literally Tessenjutsu is Iron Fan technique. So, Tessen is the Iron Fan, Jutsu is technique. And it's the martial art of the Japanese war fan. So, I mean, I suppose that's basically sort of, whenever people fight using fans, that's what they're using. Which is probably, well, that's really cool, and to be perfectly honest, I've always been a massive fan of fight scenes that include a fan in some form. Because it's just really, really cool having someone stop a sword with a fan and being able to get rid of it. I can't specifically remember what fight scene I've got going on in my head. Mulan. That's it. Oh, how did I forget? Although obviously that's kind of wrong culture, because Japanese fighting style, that's in China. But, oh well. So right here we're getting some brush tips. It does point out a few really, really helpful things that you should probably realise. It's more... well, it's easier to do in the Wii version because you kind of can move toward and further away from the sensor bar. So you can draw bigger lines or thinner lines. And just in general, it makes it easy to try and pull that off. I'm not sure how easy it is to pull off in the PS2 and PS3 version. That said, really you are not going to be doing or making use of those skills much throughout the game. There is really very, very little need in the end, which is kind of a bit ridiculous. Like, I mean, you would think that if the game allows you to make things bigger or smaller, depending on how close you are with your brush, there would be things that specifically needed you to use that. But no, I think the only real use that you'll find is in battle, really. It's like if you draw a bigger cherry bomb, not only is it kind of more likely to hit, but I think it also creates a bigger explosion and therefore may or may not cause more damage. So it's something you were going to want to maybe try and make use of, but it's not integral to getting anywhere in the game. So, it's up to you. But I believe that right there we have picked up all of the chests that are available to us up there, mostly. We just need to get whatever's in this chest. And also, you know, seeing as we need to Gale Storm anyway, that's basically what we need to do to progress. Because we can't go through that gate, so we're going to have to go across the top. Which is going to be a little bit more finicky than you'd probably expect or want. Because you need to jump across these, and yeah, it's a tad finicky. You can fall down between them. I'm not quite sure what the programming in this entails, but either way, we've made it across to get the Exorcism Slip S, and now we can pretty much, after feeding these rats here, because can't not feed the rats, we are right at the door of the Crimson Helm. I told you this bloomin' dungeon was short. Like, seriously. We're done in like 20 minutes. It's like a new record. Now, the way that you are meant to get through this is to Gale Storm your way through. It only does this for a temporary amount of time, so you are going to have to keep Gale Storming your way through, but it means we get through unharmed, so you kind of need to do it, you know? Also, ooh, that glitching. Now, something that's kind of a bit ridiculous is that I'm pretty sure in the original Ōkami, on the PS2, there are no kind of visual glitches. It's all kind of pretty perfect. But when they ported stuff to the Wii, every now and again there are a couple of really, really bad visual glitches, like where, as you saw there, bits of the scenery were kind of coming apart at the seams, and there is a really, really, really bad instance of it at the final boss, as you will see. I don't know what the hell they did to it, but yeah. Anyway, here we have the Crimson Helm. Called so because of his crimson helmet. Not perhaps the most original name in the world, but oh well. Now, going into this fight, the Satomi Power Orbs will join us, and what's really, really helpful is that these bastards... Why am I calling them the Satomi Power Orbs bastards? I don't know. Basically, they allow us to basically get hit 8 times before our godhood gets affected. Well, not our godhood, but our health gets affected, so you're gonna want to be trying to hold on to them for as long as possible. Now, the Crimson Helm's Japanese name is Akabuto, which means red helmet, so Aka, red, Kabuto, helmet, which is why you've got Kabuto the Pokemon, which is like a helmet. And what's really quite interesting is that his face looks remarkably like a certain dragon that we may or may not be needing to face down later. It's basically because something interesting happened with the Crimson Helm. So, in the Gale Shrine you attain the Gale Storm Brush technique, and Crimson Helm was conceived almost solely for the purpose of making use of that new brush skill. And since it was already established that he was an alternate form of Orochi, we used Orochi's head in his design, and the designer really liked the way he snorts when he makes his appearance. There's another image which doesn't really like, looks at the image scroll, and there's another one which shows Crimson Helm's armour in a museum-like setting, with an imp and a Tengu looking at it, which is brilliant. And I'm pretty sure that that is everything I have on Crimson Helm that I can discuss at the present moment in time. I will point out that the way that he fights and the methods and strategies used for fighting the Crimson Helm will come in handy at a later point in the game, because there are some enemies that are reasonably similar to him, which is quite fun. It's the same thing as with Spider Queen, I suppose, but we're going to get kind of more normal enemies with Crimson Helm-like abilities. And oh dear, this is not looking good. And oh, hello, Susano. And so we get another of these quick time events, and oh my god, it's glorious. Like, these are just ridiculous, but they are just so fun. And like, even when you fail at them, they're fun. It only gets slightly annoying if you fail them multiple times in a row through not really intending to. But either way... Oh, we are probably going to fail right now. Basically, what I think you need to do is a spiral, not necessarily the loop. Well, I thought you needed to do the loop. I don't really know. For some bizarre reason, I couldn't quite get Gale Storm to work as I wanted it to. Like, I really don't know what was going on. I think it's just... you need to do maybe a slightly tighter loop or something. As I said before, like, in the walkthrough, sometimes the brush techniques don't always do exactly what you want them to do or come out as you want them to. Which can be incredibly frustrating. As you could see there, I mean, I was going slightly nuts. But, thankfully, once that is all done, the Wind of Wrath takes effect. And the Crimson Helm is down. Susano, we're right behind you, mate. Dogging. Pun. Army. Should probably get that cough checked out. But what we're seeing there is that Susano really doesn't want to be a hero. And he may have done something that he majorly regrets. I think everyone can probably guess exactly what that was. But either way, from this we get a new pair of a new set of rosaries. The life beads, which are glorious. Basically, like, the rosaries are easily the best weapon in the game. Well, it's just because they attack so much quicker. And, oh god damn it, Waka. And that's the serpent crystal that we were looking for. I know! It's finders keepers, thank you very much. But, ugh. I really don't get you sometimes, Waka. Oh well, you've probably figured exactly what we need to do right now. We really need to head back to Kamiki. There's no time for a victory howl. The time of the festival is nearly upon us. And things are gonna get serious.